Welcome to the 10th episode of The Sacred Darkness. The 10th episode, oh my God. Sorry, let me just be professional. Welcome to the 10th episode of The Sacred Darkness with me, Makena, where we embrace chaos one shadow at a time. Wow, the 10th episode. You gotta love a nice, clear, 2-digit number to mark how long you've been doing something. I mean, of course, there are all those, super successful podcasts that have like millions of listeners and have hundreds of episodes to brag about, but I am going to brag about my 10 episodes. And here's to 10 more, and 10 more, and 10 more, and to infinity and beyond. As I reflect on the reason why I started this podcast, I think about the fact that I started it really as a safe haven for me to discuss topics that I wouldn't have ordinarily been able to in other platforms. I've talked about shadow work in these episodes, radical self-acceptance, self-parenting. I've even touched just a little bit on my sexuality and how costly the shame I harbor towards myself completely derailed any kind of direction that I would have wanted my life to go in. But today I want to talk about something that I never thought I would think about or even discuss, and that is being completely unapologetic about being really, really good to yourself. This unwavering, resolute determination to ensure that you are your first and highest priority before others. Yes, I've said it, before others. A commitment towards profound self-acceptance, self-trust, self-respect, and self-reverence. These ideas have been extremely foreign in my life until very recently. Making this declaration that in this chapter of my life, I'm going to love myself deeply, compassionately, and with no condition. It sounds like, it's not only sounds, it feels like a huge load has been lifted from me. In theory, it is such a refreshing take on how we are supposed to be treating ourselves, like the individuals that deserve all the good that comes to them. But there's a really strong opposing force that tells us, don't take it that far. Don't take it too far now. I mean, who knows what it will lead to, right? Maybe we'll all turn into Kanye West, calling ourselves gods and or skinheads and whatever he calls himself these days. You see, our society, it really does not like the idea of people loving on themselves. This idea of really taking care of and paying attention to ourselves. It's shunned upon. We've been told that it leads to a deep sense of arrogance that may even lead to narcissism, which is totally and completely nuts to me, because if anybody has read through what causes narcissism, you'll actually understand that it has nothing to do with love. It's all about people who have grown up being mistreated, being neglected, being abandoned. And narcissism has nothing to do with generating a deep sense of self-love, because that comes from deep within. Meanwhile, narcissism is very, very dependent on the outside. They need a lot of approval from the outside. But self-love is completely different. Self-love asks you to start from within and to develop your own love for yourself from within. So that's why I think it's nuts that we were led to believe that being good to yourself, being kind, being nurturing, and self-care could lead to some form of being a horrible human being. This is going to sound harsh. And like I've always said, I hold no grudge or resentment towards my parents. I love them deeply, and I understand that all they could do was the best they could with the knowledge they had at that time, being young people themselves, raising children. But I abandoned myself the minute they abandoned me emotionally. The minute I wasn't doing as well in my growth process, especially academically, that's when the criticism started. And I inadvertently became my worst enemy. I sided with them and everyone else who saw my flaws and constantly pointed them out at me. We think it's counterproductive to be kind and patient and gentle with your child when they're screwing up. It seems that that's the time to really rev up the critique engine and let them really have it. Show them everything that is going wrong with them, as if they aren't already aware of it, and tell them that they better straighten up if they want to be fine, upstanding adults in the future. They don't share any stories with us about when they were our age and had to deal with the same kind of hardships. No encouragement when you show up with D's and E's on your report card. You just figure out how to fix it and get on with your life. It's almost like I can hear them say, "Can't you see I have a whole career and family to run here? I don't have time to hold your hand through this stuff. You're on your own, kid. When I was your age, I got myself out of worse situations. So you better figure yours out." I realized at a pretty early age that emotionally, I really was on my own. I think a lot of us were that way. Some of us had found enough self-confidence to pick ourselves up and keep going, especially through the hurdles and the dead ends and the walls and all that. Others like me had a really brutal, dark voice that would torture and mock us relentlessly, or even make us feel like being defensive and fighting back with anger and rage were what made us feel strong and fearless. And for me personally, I lived like this for decades. From a biological or scientific standpoint, we have no clue just how badly we are damaging our capacity to think clearly when we do this to ourselves. Just remember what you're doing to yourself the next time you beat yourself up about something that goes wrong. And it can be the tiniest thing, like taking a wrong turn when you were supposed to take the next one because you were lost in thought about the terrible day you had at the office. And I think that what is most sinister is that you're not even aware of the stress hormones that are coursing through your veins, or the adrenaline that rushes through you, that increases your heart rate, makes your ears hot, creates a tightness around your chest as you go crazy on yourself, worse than an abusive spouse would. And we say the worst things to ourselves sometimes, the worst insults. And we think it's okay. Even saying this, it makes me sad. How we treat ourselves every single day. And the saddest thing is, we're not even aware. We're doing this on autopilot. So you'll have to excuse me now if I'm going to be in my era of softness, affection, and gentleness towards myself as many times as possible, every minute of every day, This is my new mantra. It's actually what saved me from drowning in complete shame. You know, I couldn't humiliate myself into changing my nights filled with insomnia, snacking endlessly, and watching crazy junky stuff on YouTube until 4 a.m. Sometimes even 7 a.m. and finding myself tired enough to sleep so that I can wake up at 3 or 4 p.m. No. I had to look at myself in the mirror at my very worst and tell myself that even with these terrible traits, these terrible habits, that I love myself. Love is what saved me. Not the constant barrage of reasons why my life was not going anywhere. Yes, the mistakes, they were there, lots of them. Failures, regrets. But what was the constant rumination of them over and over in my head going to do for me? It took me saying, I love you anyway. I love you anyway, Makena. And you are loved for who you are, not the things you did or failed to do. Saying those words to myself every day, that's what built me. They're what healed me. They're what got me out of my late night snacking, out of my insomnia, out of running away from myself. Those words of love, encouragement, patience are what have me now waking up every morning at 7 a.m. after having a really, really healthy night's rest. And I don't even need any supplements. I love the early morning walks that I take now. Those words of love, unconditional love, they help me create this podcast. And this new foundation of what total, unapologetic self-acceptance is what is going to create the healthiest version of me that I have ever been in my entire life. And you know what? Maybe this doesn't work for you. Maybe you need to be your own drill sergeant to get things done, to get things to work out for you. And that's fine. We need the David Goggins of the world who get off on pain and suffering. Personally, what I have learned truly is that you have to learn how you operate. Study yourself and apply what works for you. But I can tell you this. No one can live without love. It is encoded in us. So maybe consider loving yourself more through this journey called your life. How could it possibly be a waste of time? How could it ever be something you regret? Give yourself credit sometimes. Give yourself more chances. Be kinder to yourself. Take better care of yourself. Love yourself unconditionally. Love yourself without condition. I know this was a short podcast, but that's all I really want to say today, to keep it just short and sweet. With love and shadow wisdom, Makena.